All right, welcome to the next lesson. This one is dealing with negative equity. So, if you did the equity equation and you got a negative number, unfortunately, your car doesn't have any positive equity. So, you're upside down. So, when you took the value of your car and you subtract the cost from that, the cost is higher than the value. So, you got a negative number. You don't have any positive equity to use. That's unfortunate. It's common in leasing, and now we got to figure out how to deal with it and how to dig yourself out of this hole the most inexpensive way possible. And this is when you might even be considering a lease turn in. So anytime your car has positive equity, I wouldn't be turning in a lease because you're just giving the money back to the dealer. But if your car's upside down, this may be a time when you need to decide to turn in the lease. So let's talk about how you make that decision. So the first thing you need to figure out is what end of lease charges you're going to be looking at, that you caused by going over miles or damaging the car, and getting a tally or a good idea of like what your end of lease bill would be. So if it was a result of excess mileage, calculate what your excess mileage fee will be. So let's say you're over your miles by 20,000 miles over your limit, and it's 20 cents per mile. So that's $4,000. 20,000 times 0.2 is $4,000 in excess mileage fees. Yikes, not great. There could also be like a turn-in fee. So look at your contract. It could be anywhere from like $350 to $500. It's usually in the upper right-hand corner of the front page of your original contract. So look at that. Add that to your tally and how much. So now we're at 4,350. And then wear and tear, anything above and beyond like what's normal wear and tear. And like, how do you know what that is? Call your leasing company and ask if they offer a free end of lease inspection. I know if you have a Honda, that's who I work for. They do free end of lease inspections when it's necessary. You just got to call and schedule one with the leasing company. They come out to you, they give you an estimate for parts and labor, and then you have a balance that if you turn the car in, this is how much you owe. Another thing is big reason you always want to call your leasing company is they may offer like a wear and tear allowance. So you may get, some kind of, coverage. You may even list it in your contract. So look there, call the leasing company, and the leasing company customer service reps, they usually have specialized end of lease specialists because, the end of the lease process is really important to the leasing company because they're trying to retain you as a customer. So they want you to get your next car with them. So they give you some forgiveness. If you get a rep on the phone and you tell them your situation, maybe you're looking to stay with the company and get a new car with them. Maybe you've had many previous cars with them in the past, so you're already loyal. The specialist for the leasing company might be able to offer you like an excess mileage waiver. When I worked for Honda, every rep who answered the phone had $400 of mileage they could waive and $400 of wear and tear they could waive for anybody they wanted to. That was theirs to use as they saw fit. They're there to help the customer, keep you with the brand, make you happy, and get a good survey. Those phone reps are trying to make you happy because you might get a survey, and that a lot of them are graded through like a survey process. So they're looking to be on your side. So you never know what's available until you call and ask. If you're very loyal, ask for waivers, see how much they can help you with, waivers of all sorts, turn-in fee waivers, wear and tear waivers, excess mileage waivers. So that's a big thing. If you're going to have a balance, whittle it down as much as you can, but you need to call your leasing company to figure out what they offer. And what we're trying to figure out is if the turn-in costs are less than the negative equity amount, then you would just turn in the car and pay the end of lease bill. So what am I talking about? So when you do the math and you've calculated your equity position, let's say your car is, $4,000 upside down, between value and cost. So if you're trying to trade it or sell it, you have to roll in or pay out of pocket $4,000. But when you do the calculation on how far actual over you are on miles and your turn-in fee and any wear and tear, if you get an inspection done and maybe you've called in and gotten waivers on all that, that bill's only going to be $2,500. Well, don't do the trade. Don't pay negative equity. Just turn in the car and pay the $2,500 because you're ahead. Because actually, the negative equity was more than what you would have paid, if you just turned it in. So you have to figure out what's more or less to make that decision. So that's one possibility. But what I'm really excited about, and what I want you to understand too, is that because of the current market and because values of used cars are so high right now, this could help you even if you have negative equity. So let's just say you do your equity calculation and you're $2,000 upside down. So the car's cost is, $2,000 more than its value. But then you do your end of lease mileage calculation, you get an inspection done, you get some waivers, whatever, you're 20,000 miles over, and your excess mileage bill would be $4,000. So your negative equity is only $2,000, but you're actually $4,000 worth of excess mileage on the car. Well, then don't turn in the car and pay that $4,000. You can then sell the car to a dealer and just come out of pocket for the 2,000, negative equity, because you just saved yourself $2,000 if you turned it in and had to pay the full 4,000 or more to the leasing company. So this could really benefit you. If you're upside down and you caused it, the increased value of the used cars right now can help you actually pay less. So if that's you and you would pay more if you turned it in, then sell it, trade it, pay the negative equity out of pocket, roll the negative equity into your new payment if that's a smaller number than what your end of lease bill would be. And you can use a multi-dealer approach to find who will pay the most for the car and reduce the amount of negative equity you have to cover. So just like when we're shopping with multiple dealers, just like when we're trying to find the most trade value with multiple dealers, use the same strategy when you're upside down to see which dealer will offer you the most for the car and get the closest to your payoff with the smallest amount of negative equity, and you can get the most out of that transaction and reduce how much you have to pay. Now, one other thing, if you are going to be trading it into a dealer, there's something called the LTV, which is loan to value ratio. So, and that could require you to have to make a down payment, because when they roll in too much negative equity, now the amount you're borrowing is so much more than the value of the car you're getting that the bank won't approve it. So if the bank won't approve it, then you can't roll it into the payment. You have to pay the negative equity out of pocket. But the big thing is, which is more? Turning it in, is it more, or paying the negative equity yourself? Which is more? Choose wisely. All right, that's the end of this lesson. I'll see you in the next one.